Hello 20 ups. I loved seeing everybody's videos this week. It was really great to meet all of you. And I have some comments to make. Yay! So Lucy mentioned the idea of challenges. I really like the idea of doing challenges, but right now we don't really have anything that's against the rules. It doesn't seem like any of us will really have a hard time with that whole minimum time limit thing. So I like it, but I think we need to figure out some way to really incorporate challenges well, where it's not just randomly doing challenges. I think doing some of the same ones that the Vlogbrothers did is cool, but coming up with our own would be much more entertaining. Not that I really have any ideas to add, but I like it. It just needs some fine-tuning, I think. The only other theme idea that I've come up with this week that we could perhaps throw in our pot is the idea of everybody doing some sort of mini lesson. So taking 6-8 minutes, whatever, to teach something that you either feel is a specialty of yours or something that you're really passionate about. So we get, I think, a really wide range of lessons, which could be a lot of fun. And yeah, so just a couple comments for other people. Lucy, I love the geeky toys that you have for your daughter. Those are awesome. As a teacher, I'm always incorporating little geeky subtleties into my lessons, and it makes me really sad at the number of kids who just don't have any idea what I'm talking about. When I was student teaching, I was helping a bass player, and he couldn't keep his fingers spread far enough apart. These two kept going closer. It's like, it's the Vulcan sign. Just make the Vulcan sign and you'll do it fine. And he didn't quite understand what I was saying, and it made me sad. So I like it, and it makes me really happy that there will be children out there who get all of the geekiness. Craig, I really enjoyed the wide range of instruments that you've got. That's really cool. I was wondering if you actually play all of those. I mean, as a music ed major, I've had to learn how to play just about every instrument, but the whole purchasing of instruments and the price that they are means that I don't have all that many, and really at this point I wouldn't use a whole lot of them. And I just had a comment for you about, you were saying that you didn't really want to take any music classes because you don't want music to become something that you love less because you're learning the theory behind it, and just encourage you that I have a lot of friends who dropped out of music school for that reason, and there's nothing wrong with it. Personally, I love music theory. I love all the math that goes into it, and just having the opportunity to learn just on a much deeper level all the stuff that I already was very interested in is what I loved about music school, but I had a lot of friends who didn't continue with it because it stopped being something that they found fun. Going to TJ's video on Monday about how his parents continue to talk to him about being a journalist. When I was in high school primarily, my parents would always get on my case because I'd bring home my report cards. I have straight A's in all my music classes, and then I'd have mostly B's and a couple of C's and everything else, and I'd have big conversations after dinner, usually resulting in tears on my part about how I needed to really up my academic levels, and if I could do A's in band, I can do A's in other classes, and that just getting A's in band isn't going to help me in college. And then I went off and became a music major, and I have a lot of fun poking fun at my parents about how that kind of turned around and is not so applicable. It was good that I had all those A's on music classes. And I was thinking about why we dwell on the innocent, outdated versions of people, and I think that kind of works together. And I think that a lot of it has to do with simply wanting to remember a simpler time in our lives, particularly for our parents, thinking back on the job aspirations we had as children. I'm pretty sure I wanted to be everything from a dancer to a painter to a scientist to a writer, and yeah, every week it was something different. So I can understand if they didn't catch up, but I think for them in particular, it's like their child is growing up and all of that. For me, it's more of a holding on to something that I can understand. When we're younger, kids say that they want to be a scientist or they want to be an artist, and then as we grow up we realize how many fields are within that broad field. I have friends who were craft majors, not something I knew existed before I went to college. I have illustration majors, graphic design, all of these things, but all of them most likely just said they wanted to be an artist when they were a kid. And so for me, it's more of a generalization thing. My brother is a sophomore in college, and I really can't remember what specifically his major is. I know it has to do with computers, and I know that I think that it's along the vein of being an IT person, but I just can never remember. I know it has to do with computers, and that's about all I can remember. My sister will be graduating in May, and I know that she's got a religious studies major as part, but I think that there's some other part, and I don't know what that is, but I know that after undergrad she wants to go to nursing school, and so that's just a very blatant nursing school. Okay, I can handle nursing school. My friends who are nurses, I just can't ever remember what department they're nurses in. So it's just, I feel like there's just so many small categories underneath the broad one that we stick with the broad one. It's just easier. My dad, technically, my dad was an electrical engineer, but my siblings and I always told our friends that he was a rocket scientist because that's what he did, developing software for planes, rockets, submarines, all sorts of things like that. And it's a lot more fun to tell your friends that your dad's a rocket scientist. And it's true. We weren't lying. It was just technically his degree is as an electrical engineer, but he does work on rockets, and it gives you a lot of cool points. So I think it's one of those broader aspects things as to why we simplify it, down. I think whether or not it's the right way to be doing it, we want to make things easier on ourselves, and that's what we go for. Those are my thoughts for this week. Sorry I didn't have a whole lot of original stuff to add. I look forward to seeing everybody's videos this week, and don't forget to be awesome. Ciao.